Unhappy homemaker here. I just heard on the radio they're going to keep Broadway closed until September 6th. Oh my word! What is that going to do for professionals, for the actors, directors, stagehands, house managers, ushers, refreshment people? The entire industry shut down until September 6th. I thought maybe this would be a good time to think back to the 1960s when we had theater and things were a little brighter and more colorful. And one of the things we had was tie-dye. And what better thing to tie-dye than a mask? So I'm going to do a throwback to the 60s, and I'm hoping that all those people who work for the industry will somehow figure out how to survive so we can get back to what we New Yorkers love. Okay, so I'm taking my face mask, and you watched me roll it, and now I'm putting rubber bands around my face mask. Oh, when I was a youth in my 60s, we used to always tie-dye things, and it gave us a great deal of pleasure. And since right now things are kind of bumming me out, maybe I can get a whole lot of pleasure. Now, I didn't have any dye in the house, and I thought, well, what am I going to do? And I thought, aha. Fortunately, Richard and I are big beet eaters. I know some of you don't like beets. My friend Lori hates beets, but I love them. My daughters love them. So you take your white cloth, get yourself some beets, whoops, don't spill it like I did, and soak it. Just put it right in there and let it soak. You'll notice there are no beets in here. We ate the beets. So this is just the juice. This is like back in the old day. In the old days, they used beets. See what's doing to my fingers already. And we're going to let it sit there a bit and saturate. And after it saturates, we're going to take it. We're going to put it in a plastic bag. And the reason you put it in a plastic bag is so that it can set for a bit. And that hopefully will get the color into your face mask or anything else you decide that you want to color. We'll put it right in there and leave it sit there just like that for 6 hours. So you're stuck with me for 6 hours. No, because Hannah taught me how to edit. I will be back with you in 6 hours. Okay, happy housewife here, part 2. I have no clue if this worked or not. Today's the next day. What I have here is some vinegar. Now, why do I have vinegar? I have no clue. It seems to me when I was a wee one, and friends would invite me to do Easter egg hunts, and then first we'd have to make the Easter eggs. Then somebody would hide and we have fun. It seems to me we dipped them in vinegar. I don't know. So I thought, okay, so this perhaps should be dipped in vinegar. I have no idea, once again, what we're going to get here, but we're going to take, it's dripping, I'll tell you that much, and tell you something else. Don't want to get it on my t-shirt because this is my Ayabadiah t-shirt, meaning we got the same t-shirts. So I'm going to put this on me. That's going to be a better. And if I get some on this, that's okay with me. I don't care. All right, here we go, gang. We're taking the rubber bands off and seeing if we got something or if it's a failure. If it's a failure, that's okay. You know, because one thing we don't teach people, which we should, is you can't be good at everything. And you can try, and sometimes it doesn't work. So let's see if it worked. Enough of this idle chit-chat. I can't tell yet. The suspense is not killing me. Okay. I'm going to take this. I'm going to dip it. One more. There you go. We'll put it in the nice vinegar wash. I bet you're all saying, wow, what's it look like? Oh, you're going to be so surprised. I'm going to take it over to the sink. I'll put up, someday I'm going to have a cameraman when this is a very, very fancy operation. Maybe Jackie's husband, Jeff, will risk his life to come up and do the COVID videos. I don't know. He'd be a fool, but hey, uh-oh. What we got? Uh-oh, uh-oh. What do we got here? What do we got here? Aha! 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 And the winner is no tie-dye. All right, no tie-dye. Little tiny bit of a streak, but pink happens to be my granddaughter's favorite color. So when it dries, I have a pink mask to wear in the COVID crisis. And that's okay. That's all right, too. All right? Back to the drawing board. Not back to the 60s. Personally, I'm glad they're finished. I don't want to go back. I know what we got here, but truthfully, I would never want to do my 20s and 30s even again. Ah! Half my 30s. Ooh, half my 20s. Ooh. Anyway, okay, here we go. Thanks for help. You didn't do anything. By the way, I've been cleaning all morning, but I'm not complaining. I never complain. I just wanted to clarify about the 60s. I graduated from high school in 1969, yes. I know that was 50 years ago. Thank you for reminding me. And the 60s for me were about growing up. Now, I'm not saying I grew up. I'm not saying that at all. Those of you who know me know why I'm not saying that. But the 60s were about growing up. And the 70s were about growing up. You know how it is. Even the 80s had a titch of growing up, in the 90s and the 2000s and the 2010s, and God knows the 220 at the moment is about growing up. So I just wanted to add that tie-dye is not the only thing about the 60s. Happy Homemaker here. Uh-oh. Yes, friends. The Happy Homemaker does not give up easily. Although sometimes that could be a defect rather than an asset. Okay, so look over here. We got this mask. I had this thought. You know how you get these on airlines? We got a bunch of them. I thought, okay, I'll put it on top of the mask that I've made and turn it inside out, and guess what? Didn't work. So, now the one that I dyed, and you will remember, look at that. Not too bad. I don't know why we got one little hole, but that's where my mouth goes. And then I thought, well, you know, you never throw away anything. It's like World War II rationing. My mom used to tell a story that during World War II, my dad was stationed first in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. How many people have ever lived there? And then Salt Lake City, Utah. How many people have ever lived there if you're not Mormon? Anyway, my dad was in the Army. He was a master sergeant teaching radio school. That in itself is a story. He was stationed for basic down in Florida, and his aunt died, and they shipped him up to New York for the funeral, came back. His entire company had shipped overseas. They had forgotten about him. So they gave him a promotion and sent him out west, and he became a radio operator instructor. Well, anyway, so they had these neighbors across the hall in Salt Lake who liked to drink beer. And Salt Lake, you're not allowed to drink beer. They don't sell it. However, if you were Army, you could get beer. So these two women had cases of empty cans, because in those days, you saved everything. It's kind of like today. I'm trying to figure out how to use a coffee bag strip and put it inside for a mask. Put it on your nose. Anyway, So they were saving these beer cans, and one of the women's moms and dads were coming to visit. And they said to my parents, could you do us a favor? We don't have time to take this and get this recycled. Could we just throw it in your apartment till after they leave? My mom said, sure, no problem. And that's what they did. And the mom and dad came to visit. And at one point, my mom was going in her apartment at the same time that they were coming out of their apartment. And her neighbor said, oh, Julia, let me introduce you. And she goes to introduce my mom to her parents. And what does her parents see? They see the empty cases of beer cans stacked right inside the kitchen. Sometimes you just get to telling stories and you go, why am I telling? I remember why I'm telling that story. It has to do with recycling. All of a sudden, everything has to be reused, recycled. In a way, this is the most magnificent thing about COVID. It makes you think about things that you never think about. Our Earth's resources are precious. We need not waste them. We need to reuse and recycle. And that's it for today. Listen, if the mask thing doesn't work out, no worries. I will figure out how to buy a mask. And it won't be as good as reuse and recycle, but it'll have to do.